Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet! Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell, so you are notified when new videos drop. We got a lot of news going on. I'm kind of surprised to talk about this as a pre-record. I apologize for being a pre-record. I am but only human, ladies and gentlemen. That is true. And today in Judaism, if you're Orthodox Jewish like me, you know, well, actually not even that, it's a fast day, right? A fast day is when you don't eat anything. So there's two types of fast days. A more minor one that goes from sun up to sundown, and the big ones that go from sundown to sundown, right? The 25-hour ones. This isn't that. That's coming up in 3 weeks from now, right? We're in a 3-week mourning period where bad things went down, right? Bad things went down, for the Jewish people in general in this 3 weeks. So this commemorates the siege of Jerusalem, right? That by the Romans that eventually led to the sacking of Jerusalem and the exile that Jews live. You heard the expression "wandering Jew"? Yeah, that's where that came from, right? And so this builds up to another big fast, a 25-hour one, 3 weeks from now, when we sit on the ground and we cry about basically all the bad stuff that went down. And boy, we got a lot to choose from. Although I have to tell you, it's hard doing it nowadays because I live in Israel. And a lot of these things are about the sacking of Israel, like the destruction of Israel a couple of thousand years ago. Is it? Oh, the buildings have been burned down. There's nothing there. I look out my window. I just see building after building on huge new roads. And there is so much building and industry going on here. And you read the book, going, "Oh, Lano, there's nothing left." I mean, it's right there. Look, I always they say the. During a Messianic era, we won't have that fast anymore, the 25-hour one, and oh boy, if the Messiah's going to come in the next 3 weeks, that'll be that'll be good for me anyway. I don't like the 25-hour fast. And the point is this: my wife, my wife, my daughter, nobody does the minor fast. I'm like, well, I don't know why am I doing it? I really shouldn't do it. I'm like diabetic. I should be taking medication and stuff. Because I'm like crazy. it's one of. But the point is this, right? I stream at 5 o'clock UK time. In the UK. 5 o'clock UK time in the UK. That makes sense, right? And that's 7 o'clock for me here in Israel. The fast ends at 10 past 8. I'm going to be like, I'm already a bit fuzzy. It's like 11:30. I haven't had any coffee. I'm like, right? So I reckon I can make it through this video. I don't know how long it'll be. 20 minutes, half hour. I have no idea. But we have a lot of stuff to get to. We've got an eclectic mix of Doctor Who news, regular general nerdy news, and some politics, because there's two reasons where we got politics all mixed in, because fandom is mixing in politics to everything. It has been for years and years and years and years and years, right? And that's basically why we have to talk about it. That's the first reason. The second reason, it's freaking hilarious, right? It's all freaking hilarious. So like, share, subscribe, and look, being hilarious, that is the point of the channel. If we can take the piss, everything is better in my mind, right? I like the ability to take the piss, right? It's always a good thing. So like, share, subscribe, comment, all those things are fantastic. You want to be super nice, head over to Rumble, subscribe to me there. Look in the video notes, you'll find a link to my Substack, which is where my email newsletter. Oh, there it is. I was looking for the book that I'm doing as a book on tape. I might be working on this today because I'm going to be a basket case, right? I'm not going to be able to do anything. So I'm working on this thing, Millennial Right. Well, I mean, it's already done. It was written by Craig Hinton, but my bit isn't, right? So I'm getting an AI deep fake of Colin Baker to read it. And it's awesome, right? I'm amazed how great it's coming out. I absolutely adore it. This book has got a whole new lease of life for me. So you get that on my YouTube channel, right? And there's a playlist so you can get all the individual bits. But if you're a paid subscriber, was about $5 a month, then you get I think you get a chapter a month or more. I'll give you as much as I can give you, right? I'll give you as much as I can give you, and I will be happy to give you that, right? So sign on all those things. That is all. Fandabby, double dozy. Fine. Let's start talking about stuff. Okay, let's go over. Was it this one here? Doink. So a prominent YouTuber, young lad, right? Young lad. And this really ties into this fast I'm having today. I'll explain to you how. So we have Jeff Zuckerberg. I mean, like, really, this guy looks so dodgy, right? I mean, like, he looks like an evil data. He just does. Like, Elon Musk, he looks like he's kind of fun. Like, I think I would like to hang out with Elon Musk. I don't think I would like to hang out with Zuckerberg, right? So he says, glad you're all here on day one. Let's build something together. So this is his new Twitter-like social media threads. Will it take off? My guess is no, right? My guess is not going to come together. But the vision for Threads is to create an... that's his wrong voice. I can't do his voice. I can't do a nondescript voice. The vision for Threads is to create an open and friendly public space for conversation where the intelligence services can monitor and control us. By the way, no, they can't anymore. Now there's like an injunction from any government agency having contact with social media, right? In terms of like finding out what people are saying and doing and things like that, which seems relatively normal, but boy, they're freaking out about it. But why? Because they like the control of social media. You know, I've always thought it always made me laugh. Like the ultra-Orthodox, one group of ultra-Orthodox people in Israel and then throughout the world called the Haredim, right? They normally wear like a black like gangster hat, white shirt, black jacket and pants or trousers, depending where you are in the world, right? They got that kind of look going on. So they don't have. They were very much against cell phones because their argument, which actually turned out to be a pretty darn strong one in my mind, is like it's a personal porn device that you have in your pocket. Which you know, at the time went tish tosh, but yeah, listen, the proliferation of porn over the last 20 years, right? 15, 20 years, it hasn't been good for anyone, right? Has not been good for the world, right? So. Those sects are they basically forbade smartphones. It worked to some extent, right? But had they known the control that social media would have over those people, their leaders, they would have insisted, right? Insisted they had smartphones. Anyway. We hope to take what Instagram does best and create a new experience around text ideas and discussing what's on your mind. The world needs a friendly public space for conversation. If we do this well, then Threads can be that space. Well, we're going to find out what they mean by friendly in a minute. If we're going to stay focused on that, that's our North Star. So yes, they want a friendly space, right? You know, they want a friendly space in the same way the Palestinians want peace. How do the Palestinians want peace? We will kill all the Jews. We kill all Jew, then we have peace. I mean, then we fight each other, obviously. But we kill all Jew. Streets run red with Jew blood. No more Jew. There is peace. And that's kind of the same way they want to have a peaceful, friendly space. So William Hu, a prominent not YouTuber, Twitter says, I don't exactly like that, but I do like the messaging of a friendly public space. Again, now the truth really comes out. Better than Musk. I'm going to amplify the right wing and make this a toxic platform! Really, mate? So, again, how does this tie into this fast of today? So there's a parable, right? We call it a mushroom. There's a parable that we... that I was told many years ago to help understand the to sensitize oneself from living in exiles, because we believe the Jewish people have lived in exile for coming up to 2,000 years, right? We don't really know it. So the parable is kind of like this, and we'll tie into this. Don't worry. It's that imagine that somebody was living the high life in New York, Hunter Biden, we'll get to him in a minute, was having a great time, right? And then somehow found himself in the Soviet gulag, right? In, where is it? I can't remember now. Siberia, right? And he's miserable, right? He's miserable. He doesn't have the high life. He has to get up at 6 in the morning and, like, chisel his water-free, to get the ice out so he can go and poo and like, he's, like, depressed and miserable all the time. But eventually he's there for years, right? And he meets somebody, he gets married. They do that in the gulag, from what I understood, right? They get married, and they have a kid, right? So the kid is born, he has the same life. Exact same life as his father. And he's fine with it. It's like, well, this is what life is like. It's not so terrible. I don't get up at 5 in the morning, chip my water free so I can have a poo. Everything is fine. So this is the so that the parable is like, we are used to living in this mutated evil existence, right? And we're somewhat desensitized to it. So in the same way here, little Willie who, he's lived at, I guess he's 18, 19, he's a kid, right? I think he's lived in the space for the last 5 to 7 years where any dissenting voice was called hate speech and was stomped down, right? And that's going away now. In fact, that's why I think a lot of toxic fandom have been in complete and total meltdown and been in complete total meltdown for like a long time, right? An absolutely very, very long time. For several reasons. They were told that Jodie Whittaker was the bestest ever, right? And it was stunning and brave and pushing everything forward, and it was fantastic, and it was breaking the glass ceiling, and everything was going to be better, and it failed. It fell completely, and it fell because it was garbage, right? But they double, triple, quadruple down on it being the bestest ever. Oh, it's so best. Oh, so ever. The bestest ever. And they were wrong, right? They were wrong. And so they've been in meltdown. Why? Because they haven't had to hear anything they don't like. Like, maybe men can't breastfeed, right? That's where we are now, right? There's a viral video of a trans woman breastfeeding. Now, as far as I understand, a trans woman has a penis and no ability to nurse a child. Through that, I mean, like, none. As far as I understand the science, right? But because they haven't been able to hear anything they didn't like, they hadn't been able to deal with being wrong. I mean, they grew up with participation trophies. They can't deal with being wrong, and boy, there's the entire world screaming they're wrong. I mean, listen, you want to know my reason for why I think the world is crazy and getting increasingly crazy? I mean, other than I believe it's the end of days, right? And I do believe it's the end of days, but in a good way, right? Well, it's like this. It's like, again, this is my Bible-thumping worldview. I am not trying to impose it on you, right? I'm really not. And I always go to great pains to say it, because look, live and let live, believe what you want to believe. Like, don't be a cunt to each other, and that's basically, I think that's fine, right? But I think this is my, again, Bible-thumping worldview. Biden won in the 2020 election, when the safest and most secure election of all time, with nothing suspicious going on whatsoever. Oh no, you're allowed to say it's suspicious now, right? I forgot. Nothing suspicious going on whatsoever, right? That election was as on board and clear and completely fine as the COVID vaccine. Everything was okay, right? There was nothing wrong with it. But yeah, from a theological point of view, I go, well, why does God allow this evil to happen? Why does God allow this evil to permeate the world? And it's because since 2020, it was basically from about August in 2020, everything that has happened has been a complete and total humiliation of the worldview that Trump was the worst. Oh, billionaire. Everything about the worldview and the politics of people like William who grew up having it, being indoctrinated without even realizing. I think it was better, right, in the early 70s when you had Chinese kids who pulled out Chairman Mao's Red Book. You probably don't remember. Look, find the sitcom Mind Your Language, right? And that will totally tell you what that was like. But you have these kids who wear the Chinese communist uniform and pull out the red books and Chairman Mao said, that, right? And be very, very dogmatic about it, right? Because they were brainwashed into it, because they were like just brainwashed into it completely. Same with guys like this, right? He's been brainwashed into this absolute stupidity, right? And he's seeing the complete failure of it, which is, again, I think that's the reason why we're seeing the ongoing meltdown in the world, right? And also, we got that, what was it, the famous, who are they called again? The peep show people. He was in, one of them was in Primeval, and the other one wasn't, right? But you got the famous memes that, are we the baddies? Where they both dress as Nazis. Are we the baddies? Maybe. So anyway, so that's going on. So here's another thing from Little Willy Who, okay? It does feel like with the Chibnall era, some fans care more about messaging than the actual content itself. Really? Did you notice it was shit? Really? I mean, again, just go and look at Rosa, right? The episode you hold up as being one of the greatest things ever. It was the bestest ever! It was garbage, right? It was critical race theory at the episode, and it was a bad one at that, right? It was absolute garbage, right? But, it's like, I don't know, so he goes on there. It does feel progressive, and that's good. Why? Why is being progressive good, right? We have progressed to child grooming, right? We have progressed that, and you don't think that's good because you keep saying, no! Having naked people walking around and gyrating in front of children, that's not grooming. Well, what the fuck is then? Right? They deny because, again, they can't cope with being wrong, right? But it's the execution of the majority of the time is poor because the script was poor, because it was all about messaging. And that's the problem many have. Really, mate? Really? Yeah, and also I didn't like the messaging either, right? I thought the messaging was repugnant, right? Again, but everything is the opposite. Everything's there. So right now, let's go to Suze Kempner. Oh, I tell you, Suze Kempner is a never-ending well of hilarity, not in the way that she thinks. She sucks so hard and thinks so highly of herself. Like the two things together are just delicious, right? They are just so freaking funny. And she does. She thinks so incredibly highly of herself. I like her comedy she puts on Twitter. It's not good, right? It's not good. So, Donald J. Trump, right? Bringing up this little subject on, but they tweeted from the BBC and on Facebook as well about the Doomsday. No one gives a shit, right? No one gives a shit because it's shit, right? I can't do a Trump voice. Does anybody really believe that the cocaine found in the West Wing of the White House, very close to the Oval Office, my Trump's awful, is for use than anyone other than Hunter and Joe Biden? I'm not sure about Joe, but Hunter really has to be number one suspect, right? He really, why does he have to be number one suspect? Well, first, he's a crackhead, right? So, and crackheads often leave their drugs laying around. So they're trying to spin it right now, saying, oh no, it was in a visitor center. It could be a visitor. No visitor is bringing coke into the White House. No visitor, nobody on a tour is bringing coke into the White House. The only people who bring cocaine into the White House are people who just go through security and not get searched. And you want to tell me they don't have surveillance footage on everything all the time within the White House? Yes, they do. They know exactly whose coke that was, right? They know exactly whose coke that was. And listen, it could be anyone. It could be a staffer. But yeah, they're all high-up staffer, but they're all doing lots of drugs. Don't think anybody else. So Joe doing drugs? Well, I think they probably hit him up with a ton of adrenaline anytime they wheel him out. Right, otherwise you can't show in the real Joe Biden. I guess you can because people would just give it a pass. Anyway, so listen, it must have been somebody which didn't have to go through security. And was trying. It sounds like it was Hunter Biden, doesn't it? Doesn't it? And if it doesn't sound like Hunter Biden, may I draw your attention to this video? I think from the same night. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But this is a man off his face on coke, right, in the White House, and I think doing a bump of cocaine, right? I think he's actually doing a bump of cocaine. Let's have a look. Oh, yeah, that guy looks like he's not high. No. Hey, look, watch him now. Goes to his hand. Does a bump of cocaine behind his mother. Oh. Wait, do we see that? Let me... And then he's wiping his nose. Really? I mean, look. Come on. It's obviously Hunter Biden's... Why would anybody entertain the idea it's not Hunter Biden's? Can I make that bigger? I think I want to show that. Like, look at him take a bumper coat. 1 second. This is worth zooming in on. Yeah. That guy is super high, okay? That guy is super high on coke. And look, doing a bump. Yes, he just did a bump. Wipe his nose. Yes. Yeah, so I'm sorry to harp on about politics, but boy, is it funny. Okay, it is funny. And again, it just gets funny when Trump gets involved in anything, right? I really believe he's going to be back at the White House in 24, and I think it's going to be hilarious. But watch the fake news media will come start saying that the amount was very small. It wasn't really cocaine. It was, but rather a common ground up aspirin, and the story will vanish. Has deranged Jack Smith, the crazy Trump-hating special prosecutor, been seen in the area of the cocaine? He looks like a crackhead to me. I want a president who will call somebody a crackhead. I don't know. Look, I understand that might be not to your taste, but for me, priceless. So anyway, Suze Kempner, the wonderful Suze Kempner, the talent vacuum says, imagine going back to 2008 and the day Obama was elected president and telling him, oh, you're going to drone strike American citizens and you're going to cause the biggest mass migration in human history, flooding Europe with refugees from a completely non-compatible in many ways culture, as they're finding out in France right now, right? It's a not compatible culture. Yeah, do you imagine going back there? I mean, people have this fancy that Obama was a good president. He wasn't. He was one of the worst. And stopping jubilant Americans celebrating in the street to tell them that the next president will start his very own Facebook. I mean, you see, that's the thing they don't like. That True Social is actually doing quite well, where I think Fred's is going to die a death. And use it to call a special prosecutor a crackhead. Are you missing the Hunter Biden doing cocaine part, darling? Are you missing that? I think you might be, right? I think you might have buried the lead there, honey, right? I think that might be what's going on. So, yeah, that's Suze Kempner for you, right? But the insanity is strong in 2023. The insanity is strong, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't think it gets much stronger than this next article, which is completely insane. Okay, completely and totally insane. Has Doctor Who finally has a new Tom Baker after 42 years, but it isn't David Tennant. Now, I think your favourite Doctor is normally the Doctor you first watch, right? So for me, it's Tom Baker, right? Yeah, he'll always be iconic. I remember meeting him in Fagin's, my local children's bookshop, and full costume, had his hat on. I think that would be the season 14, 15 costume. He put his hat on me. Oh, man, it was magical. It was wonderful, right? It was flogging like Doctor Who and the dinosaurs or something. I don't even know, right? I don't know. But it was fantastic. So but I think, the Doctor you come in on is the Doctor you love the most, right? So I think that's why a lot of people love David Tennant, because they had a lot of normal interest with the Christopher Eccleston season, right? But I think he wasn't as charismatic as David Tennant. I think David Tennant coming in knocked it through the stratosphere and made it much more popular, and I think that's why people just loved David Tennant. Anyway, but they're saying there's going to be a new one, and oh boy. Look, amazingly, 6 months ago, I would have agreed with this article, right? I really would have done. That's a lot of Jinx Monsoon ago. Like, let me tell you, a lot of Jinx Monsoon ago. Tom Baker and David Tennant may be the most popular Doctors, but another actor has far more in common with Baker's post-Doctor Who career. Okay. David Tennant is referred to as a modern equivalent of iconic Fourth Doctor, Doctor Who's true Tom Baker's successor, and is someone, but Doctor Who's true Tom Baker's successor is somebody else entirely. Tom Baker and David Tennant both hold a special place in the hearts of two generations of Doctor Who fans. Their episodes are regularly cited as amongst the very best. Yeah, again, I don't really feel that about David Tennant stuff. I mean, I liked it, and I like a lot of his episodes, but you know, I like Gridlock, for example. I think it's a truly beautiful episode, but you put that up against Genesis of the Daleks, it's like it's not close, right? It's really genuinely not close. They keep playing stuff from The Flash. Is that out yet on streaming? I gotta watch that when it comes out on streaming. I wonder if they're gonna put Indiana Jones on streaming or whatever on digital early. We're going to get to Indiana Jones next. Their episodes are regularly cited as some of the very best the show has to offer, but both actors immediately spring to public's mind when who played Doctor Who. So David Tennant is returning to the role of Doctor Who, for Doctor Who's 60th anniversary specials. So the official word was that this came out of the watch-alongs, right? I think Rusty Davis must have known. Actually, I heard he did know that how bad the Chris Chibnall years were. The great Chris Chibnall really destroyed the show. They had no success. They had no idea what to do with it. They were looking for somebody. If it was for Rusty Davis, it probably would still be on hiatus right now, right? There wouldn't be any sign of anything coming, right? So I think David Tennant coming back was designed to reinflate the popularity of Doctor Who. Where were they? In a story that shows many similarities with Tom Baker's abandoned Lost in the Dark Dimension projects, the infamous 30th anniversary feature film starring Tom Baker as an older alternate Doctor who gave his life to put history back on course. Well, it's more the Seventh Doctor did that. Then the Seventh Doctor die at the beginning. There's quite a good adaptation with it, audio adaptation, but all the voices are not good. And you know, the people who make it, I don't want to say this to you, but I do. Deep fake AI voices, it's the way to go, right? It is 100% the way to go, I'm afraid, right? Because they sound like the people, whereas, you know, your voice actors, love them dearly, didn't sound like them, right? Sadly, right? So, and I wish I wasn't saying that, but it's absolutely true, right? Alternative, it's possible that David Tennant, the 14th Doctor, could do something similar for Shooty Gatwa's incoming incarnation in the 60s. Yes, my fan theory is that the this is really Shooty Gatwa's Doctor wearing a David Tennant skin without realizing it, been put over by the Celestial Toymaker or whoever it is. I hope it is a Celestial Toymaker, because I do think Neil Patrick Harris is really good casting for that, right? I really do. There are many more similarities between Tom Baker and David Tennant, but both actors have their equivalents elsewhere in the roll call of Doctor actors. I don't know what you mean. Okay, so why David Tennant is called the modern Tom Baker? Because most people fell in love with him. Most people fell in love with the revival via David Tennant. Tom Baker and David Tennant were both a Doctor when Doctor Who was at its cultural zenith, and that's why it was at the cultural. I mean, one of the main reasons why it was at a cultural zenith. It wasn't just Tom Baker. I think it was the intersection of Tom Baker, Philip Hinchcliffe, and Robert Holmes. I think that made absolute gold, and I think, frankly, that as soon as they left, it coasted on fumes for the next 12 years until it was eventually taken off the air. Was it 12 years? 11 seasons, right? Seasons 15 to 26 existed, I think, because of the memory of the greatness of Philip Hinchcliffe, Robert Holmes, and Tom Baker. In the same way with David Tennant. I think David Tennant, Rusty Davis, Phil Collins, great episodes, right? Really, really great episodes. And no chicks with dicks. It's weird. It's like now it's a absolute requirement to have chicks with dicks. Not before. Fine. Fandom certainly will cite Tom Baker era as the undisputed golden age. I think they're all golden. I mean, they have a lot of golden ages, right? I think William Hartnell, his first season at a Golden Age, I think towards the second season when it developed a much more comic book like sensibility. I think the Patrick Troughton era, it was a golden. I mean, like, I know it was next to cancellation, but the Patrick Troughton, but I just love it. I mean, I love Caesar Death. I love Evil of the Daleks. That reconstruction, fan-frickin-tastic. I think we had a golden age once again with John Pertwee because it was so cutting edge and contemporary. Like, John Pertwee was essentially James Bond, right, on a dingy British budget, right? But yeah, so Tom Baker, yeah, that was a golden age, right? That was a golden age. I think that you kind of got one again with Peter Davison, his first year or so, right? That one, because again, very, very, very culturally on the cutting edge, right? In a very good way. So, and then, honestly, I think we got another golden age the last 2 years of Sylvester McCoy, which were great story after great story after great story, being really interesting and inventive. So I think there's been more than one golden age, which the show has struggled to replicate. Similarly, many casual viewers who grew up with David Tennant as the 10th Doctor struggled to get on board with Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi. Everybody got on board with Matt Smith. It was Peter Capaldi that put people off, and fantastic Doctor. If only had another 7 years worth of Doctor, I would watch every second. It's no reflection on the actors or the quality of the scripts, but there was something that David Tennant brought to the role that allowed Doctor Who to have a brief spell of mass crossover appeal. No, actually, you want to say what gave Doctor Who the brief crossover appeal, quite a big one, was Netflix. Netflix in America, Matt Smith, right? That's what made it explode, right? That it was easily accessible to everybody. The result of both Tom Baker and David Tennant's popularity. Oh, say, who is this new replacement then? I mean, like, dude, we're like halfway through the article at this point. As a result of both Tom Baker and David Tennant's popularity in the role, they've often been asked to return. BBC wanted Tom Baker to return to Doctor Who at various points in the so-called wilderness years. No, they never wanted anything to do with Doctor Who ever again, okay, in an attempt to resurrect the show. Similarly, David Tennant's popularity was so huge, BBC considered cancelling the show when he stepped down. There was also Rusty Davies leaving. Fast forward 14 years, and Tennant's return to the role is being held that it will save Doctor Who. So again, this guy is in freefall because, Jodie Whittaker failed. Failed in every way. She was absolutely awful. And he doesn't like that Doctor Who needs saving. It needed saving. I'm sorry, it did. But there's a key difference between the Baker and the Tennant here, in that Tennant is usually very willing to come back. Yeah, look, Tom Baker just wanted to move on, right? I think, his brief dalliance with Lalla Ward, followed by the divorce, he was just done. Right, he'd been doing it for he was just done and needed a change. And he speaks about how after he finished recording his last Doctor, he went for a haircut and he got a really short haircut. Right, and as he went in, people said, "Oh, it's Doctor Who." When he went out, nobody recognised him again. And it was like he lived with that pain for many years, right? And I think that's why he didn't come back. I think that actually caused him real pain because he loved being a hero. He loved being loved, and you can see how much Tom Baker loves being loved, right? Yeah. So I think that's one of the reasons that he wouldn't want. He didn't want to come back. Fine. So Tom Baker. Tom Baker isn't Tom Baker. He's a modern Patrick Troughton. But who's a modern? Okay, we'll get to it. When Tom Baker left Doctor Who in '81, he maintained a connection to the show, but he made no connection to the show. He did that New Zealand ad. Can I find that? 1 second, where's that from? We'll look at YouTube. YouTube.com. Tom Baker, New Zealand, Doctor Who. Will it come up? Yeah, so what year was this from? Hang on. Come Alive in Dubai, okay. So this was 97. Okay, so he was definitely warming up by then when the show had been off. So this is... and they had quite a good little TARDIS set. Come on, let me... Bloody hell, take forever. Yeah. Oh. But yeah, I do like this little title. It was all about keeping New Zealand clean or something. But yeah, you can see he had totally warmed up to it. But in 80, this was like 15, 16 years later. Okay, fine. I should look at that on me on one of my live streams maybe. Fine, what are we up to? When Tom Baker but wasn't happy with it. The same can't be said of David Tennant, who's always had a fondness for Doctor and continued to be part of that world. Well, yeah, he was doing Big Finish straight away. Just 4 years after filming Doctor Who, Tennant was back in the brown pinstripe suit and Converse to play the Doctor. 10th Doctor of the Matt Smith and 10th in the Dare Doctor. Well, that's kind of... Again, he's a Doctor Who fan. It was somewhat of a given. There are similar amounts of time between Patrick Troughton's last performance and the three Doctors. Oh, come on. That's clutching at bloody straws. Chris Eccleston's the modern Tom. Fine. I'm intrigued to hear what the hell they're going to go. I thought they were going to say Shooting Gut was going to be. David Tennant's relationship with Doctor Who bears far more similarities to Patrick Troughton than Tom Baker's. Both Troughton and Tennant sold Doctor Who's regeneration concept to a new audience and helped establish the show's longevity. Both Tennant and Troughton were always keen to return the show, with David Tennant for the 50th and the 6th anniversary, and Troughton returning for the 10th and 20th. And also, the 23rd? In 2023, David Tennant was playing a mysterious new incarnation of Doctor who's appearing in spin-off media before the proper show debut, and it's kind of the story's annoying me right now. It's like there's some crash Daleks that are being used to run a virtual reality Dalek theme park thing, right? It's therefore possible to join a link between the 14th Doctor's adventures and the 2nd Doctor's missing season 6B in spin-off media. Okay. But you want to say Christopher Eccleston's in the modern Doctor Who's Tom Baker. How? How much longer is it going for? Ninth Doctor Christopher Eccleston is Tom Baker's true Doctor Who successor. I really thought they were going to say Shooter Gatwa in the 21st century. Both actors came from working class backgrounds. Really? Okay. So did Tom Baker, for that matter. Well, okay. Who else? Sylvester McCoy totally came from a working class background. I think Paul McGann as well, right? He was an acting family. Matt Smith, no, he was a bit middle. He was so middle class, right? And Capaldi as well, I believe. Working class background. Most people come from a working class background because most people are working class. It's just the demographics, mate. Christopher Eccleston from Salford, Tom Baker from Liverpool. That's why it's quite good in the 50th anniversary Big Finish thing. Like the end, they teamed up Tom Baker and Paul McGann. That who's also from Liverpool. That really worked. Indeed, out of work, Tom Baker was working on a building site to pay his bills when he landed the role of the Doctor. As popular Doctor Who was with John Pertwee, the arrival of Tom Baker and his easy chemistry with Liz Sladen as Sarah Jane Smith took the programme to greater heights. I really think it was much more than two with Philip Hinchcliffe and Robert Holmes. Chris Eccleston, meanwhile, the proof of that is Big Finish are releasing the original drafts of have released original drafts of Revenge of the Cybermen, and it's not very good, right? It just feels like a 1960s Cyberman story, and it just doesn't really work at all. And the arc in space is I'm just not interested in the genesis of the Daleks. I don't want these stories without Robert Holmes, right? I think that's very important. Chris Eccleston, meanwhile, took the show that had become a joke, legitimized it for the 21st century audience. Again, I don't think so. And then walked away from it just as it became a huge success. Well, he quit because he was not in a good place, right? Due to the various behind-the-scenes dramas, it's never been fully disclosed. Eccleston decided not to stay for the second season, Similar enmity between Tom Baker and the production staff on his final season. Well, he didn't like John Nathan Turner. John Nathan Turner was basically brought in to rein in Tom Baker, so Tom Baker didn't like him. Tom Baker's production staff for his final season before he quit as a fourth Doctor, leaving Doctor Who. Both Eccleston and Baker very much did their own thing. I mean, this is really clutching at straws. Baker would rarely do conventions and preferred instead to be the star attraction. Meanwhile, Christopher Eccleston carried on carving out an incredible career for himself. Well, no, he couldn't. Excuse me. He was blacklisted by the BBC. He had to go to America and be in blockbusters. And go and look at him in Thor, whatever it is, Thor 2 and G.I. Joe 2. It looks like he wants to put a gun in his mouth and shoot himself, right? He did, right? As an actor and everything from the theological thriller Leftovers, which is brilliant up until the last episode, which is cack, but Leftovers, and he's excellent in it, to domestic comedy drama, The A Word. In later years, Christopher Eccleston and Tom Baker embraced the role. Yeah, 97 and whatever, it got a few years ago for Eccleston. Although, I tell you, his box sets are on Big Finish. I don't even buy anymore, right? They are gone really downhill. Eccleston wants to describe his Doctor as a one-man band, and he wouldn't. And the same wouldn't be said for Tom Baker's incarnation. Could be said for Tom Baker's incarnation. Well, they just, they filled the room, right? In the Five Doctors, they had to get a waxwork of him because, and he's still kind of dominated. Both actors signed up for Big Finish, recording more adventures than the respective Doctors, while generally staying away from the cash grab multi-Doctor stories. Although he is doing a multi-Doctor story with the late David Warner, I believe, and I think that's a great pairing. Eccleston and David Warner is a great pairing. The Eccleston so far avoided the two men who make a huge mark on Doctor Who and continue to follow their own path to their post-regeneration careers. Eccleston and Baker have a great deal in common with each other. Man, that was a really pointless article. That was genuinely. Oh my God, I read it so you don't have to. I guess. Okay, so. You're wrong, but let's move on with life, right? Just sap the life out of me. Okay, you want to get the life back in you? Look at this. I am really excited about this. The fanzine book. It's available for pre-order, and it looks fantastic, right? This is so my era of Doctor Who, right? Fanzines. Unfortunately, it's gone afterward by Chris Chibnall. That means I might not buy it, right? Really? It means I might not buy it. Covering fandom's earliest beginnings in the 1960s through the golden age of the 70s and 80s. I worked on a fanzine. What was it called? The Tomb. Right? I did a comic strip of Sylvester McCoy. It was a good one. Oh, I can't remember. I wonder where it is now. But yeah, I mean, it's a bit pricey. It's £40, and we're going to add on another £20 for shipping to me. It'll be like £60. Too much for me. If something's coming from England, I might buy it. Covering Hannah's early beginning through the golden age of the 1780s, several hundred different fanzine titles are documented, discussed, and displayed in this fully illustrated coffee table hardback from hand-stapled newsletters to full-color, professionally printed magazines. Look, this. Here, let's look at the back cover, which is a little bit more, tells you more what's going on. But yeah, firstly, I love looking at these covers. So Celestial Toy Room, that's Doctor Who Magazine's one. But yeah, you got this great bits of fan art. Frontier Worlds, I never read, but that's quite nice. Scaro, I read that. Sharda, oh you clever demons. TARDIS, okay, all these are the official ones. Also Spurt, I think, or Splunk, or Spurt was a fun one. Doctor Who FC Special Edition. Yeah, I love these hand-drawn electrostatic covers, right? It's fantastic. Doctor Who Bulletin. That ended up becoming Dreamwatch. Oh, this was a great little cover. I can't remember who did this, but this is a message to Mr. Grade from the 110 million Doctor Who fans. We won't let the Doctor die. Yeah, you did, actually. But yeah, this is, I'm really excited about this, right? This sounds like a great book. And it's, it's a recommend, ladies and gentlemen. It's a recommend without even seeing it, right? It's totally a recommend. Fine, let's move forward. We have, quite a bit of good news to get through, right? We have got quite a bit of good. So this is, I think, news is fantastic. Sound of Freedom defeats Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny at box office on Independence Day. Yeah, so Sound of Freedom, if you don't know, is a movie that Disney didn't want to be made. I wonder why. It's about child trafficking. Could it be all this grooming going on at Disney could indicate there's other things going on at Disney, right? And they kind of like child trafficking. They really work hard not to let this movie out. So this was done on a fraction of a budget with Indiana Jones, and it's a quality movie from what I understand, with that people wanted, with a grassroots message, right? And I'm very proud to promote it, even though I haven't seen it, because I think the whole idea of child trafficking is so beyond us, right? It's just so beyond anything that we could ever consider normal, right? It's shocking and disgusting. Right, you're stealing children to rape them, and I don't know even what else, right? Because I haven't seen the movie. I'm scared to find out, quite frankly. I guess labor. The recent released Sound of Freedom, starring Jim Caviezel, defeated Lucasfilm's Walt Disney Company, Indiana Jones, Dial of Destiny at the box office on Independence Day. So again, this is because I'm a crazy Bible thumper. I'm not telling you to believe what I believe, or even that you're wrong if you don't believe it. I mean, again, right? I think this is a strong metaphor, right, for what's going on in the world, right? I think Disney is evil. I think Disney is pure freaking evil. I really do, right? I think, again, the fact that they are ground center for ground zero for all this weird child grooming and this just this, this gender fluidity, which I think is just evil and wrong, right? I think it just brings misery in its wake to everybody and confusion. And you had Christians. Christians had a small movie with no budget and no advertising budget, and it beat Indiana. I think it took in 20 million, right? Now Indiana Jones took in 60 million over its weekend. As reported by the numbers, Angel Studios distributed The Sound of Freedom, was the top film at the box office on 4th of July. And this is important, right? Because corporations are going to see this, right? And I think there's going to be some kind of board takeover of Disney, and everything's going to go. And I think Rusty Davis may well need to refilm any scenes with Yasmin Finney and Jinx Monsoon, right? I think that might go down. The day the film was released, it grossed $14.2 million in 2,634 theaters, and the film grossed an average of $5,407 per theater. Right. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny came in second, grossing $11.6 million in nearly double the theaters. Right, in 4,600 theaters, only grossing $2,500. Right, again. I just feel like this is a victory of lightness over darkness. I just do. Rounding up the top 5 were Elemental, grossed 2.7. By the way, they were trying to spin Indiana Jones into a success because it was number 1 in the UK. You know how much that made? It was like 7 million. It was like ridiculously low. Spider-Man Across the Universe. What am I seeing that? 2.6. Transformers Rise of the Beast. Couldn't care less. Listen, if you're going to do a Transformers movie, you got to have an iconic super hot chick in it, right? I saw the first 3. After that, I'm like, Megan Fox, she's already in the spank bank, right? She already opened up the bonnet of the car. What do you call that in America? I can't remember. She already opened. Stuck with me there. Nearly as good when she was on the bike on the second. She was on the bike when she was detailing something on the bike. And then, weirdly, in the third one, Shia LaBeouf had broken up with the hottest woman in the world and was now dating the second hottest woman in the world. So, good news for you, Shia. The box office haul comes after Angel Studios co-founder Jeffrey Harmon indicated that numerous potential moviegoers were actually turned away from theaters because the showings were sold out. Ah, man, that's great news. I mean, bad, but it's great news, right? I am so on board for the success of this movie, right? Again, because I feel like this is a God beating down evil, right? God beating down Disney. He tweeted yesterday, the Sound of Freedom and Angel Studios were in full-on theatrical dogfight this week for additional showtimes and larger auditoriums against the biggest studios in the world. We are having sellouts nationwide. But so many are being turned away because there's no seats left. Harmon added, this was exactly the strategy, and it's a miracle it's actually working. I agree with you, it's a miracle, right? I agree with you, it's a miracle. And you know, I just hope we see more miracles, right? The only way for a startup studio to enter the theatrical on 4th of July is by brute force, and our team has voluntarily put in incalculable hours because they sense this can rescue many children, and it really can. I mean, like, it gives me chills just even thinking about it. It's an honor to get a small part in this significant movement. Saying all good things, right? Again, I'd love to see it when it comes, but it's not in Israel and it's not on digital. This goes on. Okay, look, this has to be written by John F. Trent, right? Yes, it does. You can tell. John, you had me on the first 14 paragraphs. You didn't need to go any more. So the B side of this is this. Like, this is really good news. Walt Disney goes stock downgraded amid growth uncertainty. So the rumor is, and this sounds like it's a credible rumor because it came from many, many sources, that there was a big high-up meeting with Kathleen Kennedy and Bob Iger about the failure of Indiana Jones. And so there's two schools of thought. One, it was a piece of cack that was trying to set up Phoebe Waller-Bridge as the new Indiana Jones and was just completely rejected. The other one was it had poor marketing, right? So Bob Iger in this meeting apparently was like, well, how do you justify this complete and total failure? He says, well, she's like, well, how do you justify the failure of Little Mermaid or whatever? And she listed off all the other movies that failed, basically all of them. And Bob Iger's like, But this is the deal, right? Now you have very rich people losing a huge amount of money because their investment in Disney is tanking, and their investment in Disney is tanking because they're pure fucking evil. That's why. Analysis have downgraded Walt Disney Co. stock because the studio's streaming growth has slowed, which means rough times ahead for as Disney keeps investing billions and billions of dollars in losing box office and streaming business. Key bank stock analysis downgraded Disney from overweight to sector weight. I don't know what that means, and set a $85 price tag. They used to be $200, right? Target on stock. Disney stock ended the week at 89. KeyBank stated that they think the Disney theme parks also have low attendance. Well, I wonder why. I mean, look, you got the Star Wars at the hotel that nobody's going to go to. Oh, look, you got a woman Greedo. Everyone is a bloody woman, apart from the doofuses. Disneyland growth due to its 100th anniversary celebration is more offset by Disney World's contraction with comparisons. I mean, they put $2 billion into that hotel and it failed. We worry the tough comps are not properly reflected in the consensus, they said. And the analysis also mentioned Disney's catastrophic Galactic Star Cruiser with the Star Wars motif, which abruptly is closing after 1 year in business, starting at $4,800 for two guests and $6,000 for a family of four. You got to share a room. I'm paying $6,000 for 2 nights, and I can't get my leg over with my wife. No way, mate. And you got to dress up and LARP. It just annoys me. The attractions are high price and very low attendance. So KeyBank also predicted that Disney Plus and Hulu will continue to lose money, and they owe about $700 million or something they have to pay for Hulu, and they don't have it. Will continue to lose money as the growth slows down in competition. This looks like there's going to be a takeover of the board, right? This looks like a significant takeover of the board. They didn't mention how woke the studio has become, but that's more of a cause than a symptom. I agree with you. I completely agree with you. It's What can I say? Yeah, no, it's sad, right? I mean, I used to love Disney. I used to live in Florida. I used to love going to Disney World. The reason I left and came to Israel, I always said, is because my annual pass ran out, and what's the point of staying? And really, it's just not a shadow of what it used to be, and it's heartbreaking because it used to be fantastic, and it's just been taken over by insane, divisive politics, much like everything else, right? But there's light at the end of the tunnel. After Indiana Jones creators at the box office, actress Haley Atwell says, Mission Impossible is the most extraordinary adventure franchise you've ever seen. Listen, Haley, darling, you don't need to sell it so hard. Tom Cruise already has done, right? Tom Cruise always has, and I believe it is, right? I believe it's going to be, I am really looking forward to seeing this, right? And this one of the few movies I actually want to go and see with my wife, right? It seems like a shared thing, right? I think it's going to be great. What are we going to say? We want to build upon the previous films and apply all the knowledge of something practical and real and bring the train sequence to another level. I'll go with the train sequence on my next stream, right? But listen, this is I'm stuck. Come on. I won't go. No, I'm not exiting. Not gonna. There you go. Right. Look at this train sequence. So on the top of a bloody train. Compare that to the Indiana Jones train sequence, right? Shot on a green screen, and so showed, right? It absolutely showed. This is my big hope for summer movies. After this, it's Doom Part 2, and I don't think you're going to be cinema for much else, ladies and gentlemen. I do not know. Anyway, that is the news. All the news that's fit to report. I hope you're doing well. I may be live tomorrow. I may do another pre-record. Saturday night, same thing. Sunday, I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. Sunday, I am back, and back live, and we will have much fun and frivolity. I have a tough day now. As I said, I'm fasting, so I might end up watching Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Oh, God, will it be another clunker? No. Oh, it's a real pain to watch Star Trek Strange New Worlds now. It was so good last year. This year, not so much. Oh, anyway, what can I tell you? Like, share, subscribe, comment, sign up my Substack, and have yourself a freaking awesome day!